panelists to join us on stage. All right. Thank you. Okay, to begin with, please put your hands together for our panelist, Shri Loknath Behera ji, Managing Director, Kochi Metro Rail Limited. Shri Sibi Chakkravarthy, MIS, Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation Limited. Shri KVB Reddy, Managing Director, CEO, L&T Metro Rail Hyderabad Limited. Mr. Dipankar Ghosh, Managing Director, Knorr-Bremse India Private Limited. Shri Sudhendu J. Sinha, Advisor Infrastructure Connectivity, Transport and Electric Mobility, Niti Aayog. And to moderate this session, we have Shri R.A. Rajeev, retired IAS, Ex-Metropolitan Commissioner, MMRDA, Director, Urban World Consulting. Can I once again request Shri R.A. Rajeev ji to please, is he here? Ah, yes. So our moderator is going to be here with us any moment. In the meanwhile, can I once again request Mr. Dipankar Ghosh to extend a floral welcome to Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation, Shri Sibi Chakkravarthy M. Can we have the bouquet on stage, please? Can I request all of you to please put your hands together for Shri Sibi Chakkravarthy M, Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation Limited. Since our moderator is going to be here with us any moment, how about, sir, if we at least start the discussion and then he can probably moderate it once he's here with us, or any thoughts that any of the panelists might have. Not particularly with respect to this panel discussion, but otherwise if any of the panelists would like to share their thoughts, I think we can utilize this platform. Can we cut the music, please? Can we cut the music, please? Thank you.
It's on. So since we are still waiting for the moderator to come, let me take the privilege to share what is happening around in the industry. Particularly, we have a sustainable rail transport panel. So before we start the panel, I'll just like to share what I represent a global company, a German company, German MNC, Knorr-Bremse. So what we as a company are doing for the sustainable transportation system globally. So one of the fact that we are one of the very proud, I would say, the participants of a global ESG groups what we have. And just to drive home the ESG in the whole company, what as a company we are doing is, one, we are putting a very strong governance mechanism. How do we do a governance mechanism? Like, you would be surprised that all from the executive board to the senior leadership, to the country leadership like me, every one of our short-term, long-term incentives are tied up to the implementation of a sustainability criteria, so that you are able to drive the sustainability out here, not only locally but also globally. Similarly, we all our, as a global company, as a German multinational company spread over 30 countries all over the world, even all our financial requirements, all our financing instruments, 2/3 of the financing instruments are tied with the ESG goals. If we are able to meet our ESG goals, we get a certain amount of interest rates. If we not, we have to be penalized with higher interest rates. Then the third comes is that we have gone outside and done an external sustainability assessment ranking and audit for all of our global locations. And as of now, we have been given above average, the A+ sort of a thing. I mean, why we are doing it? Because we are trying to get a pull from our employees also, that how sustainability matters, how sustainability is important for the whole of the globe, and also we as a company. And third but not least, what we are also doing is we have defined a very unique concept of a internal carbon credit. So, or internal carbon price, if I may say. So if you are going ahead for any sort of a CapEx approval process, you have to tell the executive board for your approval that this is the carbon price you have. And if there are projects which are having a better price, then obviously your project CapEx will be shot down. So that means what? We are generating internal competition to see that how we are able to generate the sustainability, the ESG, the climate change within the employees, because we feel anything which is to be done as a company, ultimately the employees are the one who will be doing this particular thing. So that's why our incentives, everything are tied up with the ESG goals, and we are trying to implement it in this sort of a way. I mean, this is just, I mean, since we were trying to, I would say, initiate the discussion, I thought I will just propose what we are doing across the world, for globally and also for the country. Maybe, sir, I mean, some of the metro authorities, what you are sharing, if you can share while we wait for Mr. Rajeev.
Yeah, he's at the gate only. He's going to be here with us in the next 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, he's right here. We'd like to welcome our moderator, Shri Rajeev, Ex-Metropolitan Commissioner, MMRDA, Director, Urban World Consulting. With a little energy from this side, maybe. Can I once again request Mr. Dipankar Ghosh to extend a floral welcome to our moderator. Thank you so much, sir. And now it's time for me to step back and leave the discussion to our moderator to take this ahead. So over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I didn't know that Metro doesn't only run in time, but it also runs early. Because I was trying to be in time, but the whole panel is before me sitting here. I should have welcomed all of you here, but I'm late that way. Good. So just after the inauguration, this session is going to be very, very important. And it is going to set the tone for the whole 2 days conference here. I understand, and that's why I also understand my responsibility becomes very, very crucial here. I hope all the panelists with whom I would have loved to talk earlier than the panel starts and to develop some understanding how we will run the session. But still, since we all are working in the metro environment, and I have worked earlier, so I think we are on the same plane, and it should not create much problem in going through the session. So let's start without wasting further time. I must congratulate Mr. Narendra Shah and his team for putting up such a big show here. And let us have a round of applause for him and bringing in such eminent panelists here on the dais. I'm grateful to all of you here who have come and are going to contribute to the thought process of metro development in India. So let's start. Yeah, I should go to my panel. Mr. Behera. Yeah, our association goes back to National Police Academy days. I was 1 year junior to you in police service. Then I left police service. We were together at Hyderabad. So 86, 85 and 86 batches. So we had met there in NPA. You might have forgotten, but the name resonated in my mind when I saw the panel. So congratulations to you to be on the metro side, from the police administration to the metro side. So many firsts can be attributed to the Kochi Metro thing. The way they decorated their metro stations, it was talk of the country initially that Kochi Metro has done very well about developing their stations and designing their stations. But much more than that, the most sustainable thing they have done is developing the water metro, the first in the country. And they deserve a big round of applause for that. So, Mr. Behera, my first question to you will be that apart from the water metro and your own metro, how are you managing the first and last mile connectivity with the metro so that the metro travel becomes much more comfortable to the people, and at the same time it becomes financially viable and sustainable to the Kochi metros?
Hello. So, first compliments to you. The moment you walked in, I just recognized you. After a long time, we did not see each other. And I'll actually make the thing a little lighter. He asked me a very, very difficult question, which every metro faces about the first mile or last mile connectivity, whether it is Delhi or it is Chennai or anywhere. See, this sustainability thing is always very much discussed in a gathering like this. When the things actually come to the table, the thing is a little different. I'll give a very small example. Kerala state is having the second highest number of vehicles per person only after the United States of America. It has a population of 3.7 crores and we have 1.94 crores of vehicles. So going by the registration numbers, if we go in the next 10 or 12 years, we'll have the same population of both. And you will be surprised, very elitist state, very aware and conscious. Out of this 1.94 crore vehicles, less than 1 lakh vehicles are electric vehicles. So we talk many things, but probably when it comes to the real implementations, it is a little less. So I was wondering, as a law enforcement officer remaining or in law enforcement for more than 36 years, whether the sustainability should be a law so that it is binding. You can't actually take discretions when you are going to do it. Maybe that has to come one day or other so that you cannot do it. If you do it, you will be penalized. If that probably comes relating to the sustainability, what the MC told, kuch cheez to apne, people who are to come for our children or grandchildren, you have to keep. That is the first thing. Second thing, as the moderator asked about the first mile and last mile connectivity. Yes, everybody knows that when a metro rail is sanctioned by the government of India, there is a clause there that you have to establish first mile and last mile connectivity. So what we do is that we actually see that some feeder services are there, not very imaginative. And that also happened in Kochi. I am not actually defending myself. Now, for the time being, what we did is, as a part of the non-motorized transport initiatives, we have introduced certain electric buses, some electric auto rickshaws, etc., which are definitely helping the commuters to have first mile and last mile connectivity. Basically the last mile connectivity, not the first mile connectivity. First mile connectivity is looked after by the city buses or the Uber or something. But the last mile connectivity, when you get down at the metro station, you have a auto rickshaw or a bus, you can go to a particular place. For more than that, in the NMT initiatives, what we have done, we have built around 52 kilometers of footpath all around, and it's quite good. You can walk. We are trying to actually promote walking like in many other countries. But first mile and last mile connectivity is more than that. The thing which when I joined the metro 2.5 years back, I was reminded of the 90s when I used to go to London and there only one instrument, one ticket, you travel in anything. Why not we are able to do that in our country? So what we have now taken and we have implemented that is that on the basis of QR code, you can actually have the metro, water metro, the auto rickshaw, the buses, you can travel. So that is actually implemented there. It has to actually complete the whole number of actually vehicles, but we have started it some 6 months back, and I am sure in next 2 years, all the public transport will be covered. That is the best first mile and last mile connectivity.
Thank you so much. You have ended with a very important note, which I'll pick up later. The QR code, the technology, because the integration of different modes of transportation in urban sector in India is not happening the way London Transport Authority exists in London. Why? There are so many reasons for that. There are railway authorities present and past must be sitting here in this crowd, and they have also to come up with solutions how to integrate with the metro, with the buses systems and everything. I was struggling with this problem in Mumbai, and then we thought that QR code was the answer. So I'll pick up that if the time permits me for that. Let me go to Mr. Chakkravarthy. Yeah. But before I come to you, Mr. Reddy. because in 2017, Government of India decided that there has to be a private participation in metros. And who can be the best example of private participation in metro than L&T in Hyderabad? So I'll come to that question because the first PPP model came in Mumbai, but now they are on the verge of getting back to the government. So the best model at present running everything. My question to you is, Mr. Reddy, is it financially sustainable? And if not, what are you doing to make it financially sustainable?
Thank you, Rajeev ji. As you mentioned, the Hyderabad Metro, which is the concessionary is L&T Metro, and the concessionary is the government of Telangana. We have signed the concession agreement in 2010, and the zero date has started in 2012. We were supposed to commission within 5 years, the entire stretch of 70 kilometers. But unfortunately, the state division has happened, political scenario has changed, leaders have changed, the mindsets are different. So the project has gone for a halt almost 2.5 to 3 years. There was a delay in the project execution. In this model, PPP model, typically the government's role is to acquire the right of the way and provide it to the concessionaire to build the entire stretch 70 kilometers. And whereas the land acquisition process, the land acquisition process has taken a long time, and therefore the delay has happened. So in PPP model, one of the biggest challenges is, there are multiple challenges. One is the equitable responsibility both by the public, government sector and the private partner who is developing this. That combination is two different animals getting married kind of a thing. It is not working. The efficiencies brought in by the private party is unable to be matched by the government. Same speed, it has to be matched. The approvals and other things have to come as fast as possible. You come, mobilize in full force and unable to get the right of the way. That's where the first problem is. Second thing is the financial sustainability. What you have asked is, presently in India, there are only two PPP. One is Mumbai, second one is Hyderabad operating. And as you mentioned, Mumbai is getting merged with government there again. This Hyderabad Metro is continuing to operate, though financially making huge losses. But the sustainability, we are yet to reach. A lot of innovation is done, especially in terms of the financing. And what we have done is, there was almost debt of 13,500 crores on the books of L&T Metro. This entire debt, we as L&T Group, they wanted to make this project sustainable, which is at a cost of 9.5% to 10% interest rate. They paid off the entire debt to all the financial institutions. 7 banks were there. They were paid off overnight. And the entire, again, we have gone for a NCDs and CPs with a lower interest rate coming to 6.5. Almost 3% interest saving is done. So on annual basis, 360 to 380 crores saving has been done. But one of the biggest gap between the government metros and PPP projects is the government metros do get the sovereign guarantees, for which getting the overseas financing, which you generally get about 2% interest rates. And that's whereas a PPP with the private party is not allowed to be given by any sovereign guarantees by the state government, government of India. That's where the huge difference of the arbitrage is almost 6 to 7%. That's going to be the biggest problem for any PPP project to take it forward. So these are the two major issues PPP projects are facing. That's why if you see many projects which were bid for the PPP, I think they are not successful. And somehow this gap has to be addressed by the government.
Thank you so much. But still the credit goes to L&T and credit goes to the Hyderabad government to work together and trying to make it a great success story. I believe, and this is my faith, that if the Hyderabad project fails, PPP in India will never be successful. It will be finished. So it should be everybody's responsibility to make it happen. I was expecting Niti Aayog representative here also. Unfortunately, he is not here. Otherwise, I would have posed another question to him. What does he think about how to support PPP models in the country, so that other cities where they are thinking about PPP models, they can also get partners there. Coming back to Mr. Dipankar Ghosh.
Yes.
We are talking about, see, metro as such is environmentally sustainable mass transit
True.
by itself. Okay, but still there are so many innovations every day happening
True.
in different technologies. My question to you is, what are the latest innovations in metro technology which you will say that it will reduce the carbon footprints, it will reduce the energy consumption, and it will make environmentally metro much more sustainable?
Okay, thank you for the question. So basically, if you see, we are a brake systems, a door systems, and an HVAC systems majority player in metros, though we have other products. So for example, I mean, for a low carbon transport like metro, one of the major things what we do is, with our brake systems in metro, we have done a regenerative braking because of the technologies available with us and also our competition favorably in a way, since they are also there in the market. The regenerative braking helps us to blend with the existing the pneumatic brakings what we have, and then pass on the energy when the metro is braking. So that way you save energy out there. Similarly, some of the other technologies what we have introduced out here and also globally, one is that we are using oil-free compressors. So any metro will have a compressor with the air supply system for the braking. So if you don't have oil, no oil leakage, no nothing out there. So that's another environmental free technology. Similarly, we have introduced globally, not here as of now, because the so-called air supply smart, the compressor is intelligent enough to understand when to actually fire up and when to be silent. So that way what happens is, one, you have a less use of energy. Second, you have a much more quieter operations of metro, particularly when you are into the stations or into the so-called residential, near the residential areas. And these are the brakes portion, that's the major portion. The other two, I would say the subsystems where we are contributing in a big way for the metro sustainability goals is the door system. For example, if you see the door system is something which actually maintains the climate inside the metro coach. So how good and efficient is the metro door, and how you can do a structured flow of traffic using the metro doors is a very huge contributor to the fact that you are having an efficient operation of metros. So for that, we have our normal technologies we have introduced, but we have also introduced something called a linear induction motor drive. Like since you are in Mumbai, the Madhya Mumbai monorail, we have introduced a linear induction motor drive in the Mumbai monorail. The advantage is less of mechanical moving parts, no spindle, no belts, so huge less maintenance and almost a quiet operation and 30% less weight of the doors. So if you see the train, if you are able to reduce the weight of the doors, you are reducing the specific energy consumption. And third but not least is the HVAC. We have put in HVACs where the HVACs are some of the compressor motors or some of the other things. You have intelligent controls, which, for example, you can adapt to the conditions. If the metro is full, it can be in a different way. Similarly, a variable voltage, variable frequency drives. So that way, the HVAC can be run in a more optimized way, because if you see, the HVAC usually takes around 25 to 26% of the whole energy consumption. So these are the three products which are the major products, the brakes, the doors, the HVAC. That's how we feel that we are contributing to the metros for their sustainable drives.
One supplementary question to you. Long back, there was a discussion about converting metro bodies and monorail bodies from steel to aluminum. What is your views on that? Because that will also reduce the weight of trains and will, in the long run, reduce consumption of energy. So what is that? What prohibits in India for that? Because make in India is something, in India we do not have that much of aluminum alloy available.
True.
But there is a Chinese section, Chinese manufacturers who insist that aluminum bodies are much more lighter and they should be adopted. What is your view on that?
My view is, I mean, though it's a personal view, there will be in Indian Railways, there's a lot of lobby of schools of thought. Lobby would be a wrong word. Pro-aluminium, against aluminium. It's a very interesting topic what happens. But if you see, the fact that in India we don't have an aluminium manufacturing ecosystem, it doesn't really give us any added benefit. The cost versus the benefit, I mean, okay, you will reduce it, you will reduce the aluminium, the specific energy consumptions and all those stuff, but the amount of reduction versus the price what you pay for an aluminium car body does not really make sense. Maybe it makes sense over a long life cycle, but overall, I suppose the stainless steel and the fact that some of our metros, the doors and many other parts, are one of the most abused parts, if I may say. I mean, whenever you have something, if you have a very high density crowd. So, I mean, I feel that aluminium metro cars will not give any added advantage. If you have a very solid ecosystem of manufacturing for aluminium cars where you can reduce the price required for the country, then we should strive for this aluminium thing.
Thank you so much, because that strengthens my views about steel versus aluminum debate also in the metro sector. One fact which I came across was that steel manufacturing of bodies creates less carbon footprint as compared to aluminum. Is it true?
Yeah, it's true. The steel manufacturing creates lesser manufacturing or carbon footprint than aluminium equivalent this thing. That is also true.
So that is the debate. Which still it is open for people, for different groups. But I think some of the audience may like to ask question on that, but be ready for that.
Sure.
I'm coming to Mr. Chakkravarthy. Mr. Chakkravarthy, we have worked, myself, Kochi ke Behera sahab hai, Hyderabad hai. There are metropolitan cities. We have worked for metro there. We have struggled for ridership there. We have seen about how to increase ridership. Working in tier 2 cities where population is at ease, not very relaxed population, and there you are introducing metro. What is your experience about it? Whether people are accepting it, and if the people are accepting it, whether they are changing their habits or they are only coming for holidaying or for weekend travels or something like that. It's a very interesting issue which comes to my mind, that my monorail in Mumbai, because monorail also doesn't go from anywhere to anywhere, it should get connected to proper places to increase the ridership, but then it used to be crowded during weekends. So I realized that it was not basically public transport system, it's a different system. So I would like to ask you a question, that in Madhya Pradesh cities, how are you facing this challenge of increasing the ridership of metros and changing people's behavior from leaving their existing mode of transport to metro?
Good morning to all. This is a very interesting question. Does the cities like Indore and Bhopal deserve a metro? In my opinion, any metro project based solely on ridership is not a viable project. If you see anywhere in the world, even the oldest metro network, London, I lived there, the fare revenue is not equivalent to the expenditure they are incurring. nowhere in the world. And that is the case of London, and you can think of other countries and other metros. So ridership-based project report of any metro I would call as a delusional project report. It is not going to deliver anything based on ridership. But why metro is needed? Metro is a tool for urban planning and urban development. It is not a transportation system alone. It is where you define your entire city's development. Like in old days, we had the high streets, bazaar area, commercial areas, or the commercial districts. That is contained within one particular geography. Now with the invention of the metro-like technologies, what we can do and we should be doing is to stretch the commercial area along the route of the metro, where we can get the maximum redensification and redevelopment of the urban. So unless the city is ready for the urban planning, redevelopment and redefining the urban thinking, I think metro will not be successful anywhere. Let us not even, I was looking at the fare revenue of major cities in India. We can call Delhi a metro city, Mumbai a metro city, Chennai a metro city, Bangalore metro city, but none of them are running in profit solely based on the fare revenue, whatever the ridership is. Because of the city's population, you cannot match that much frequency of train travels or that much investment into buying the rolling stock itself. So ridership is not a question in my mind. Whether we will be able to plan the urban development, future urban development with the metro as an important tool of urban development. That is what we are trying to do, to have the influence zone alongside the metros on both the sides, and to have a buffer zone for the metro, and to have FAR and land use changes, so that we will have a redensification and the proper urban planning can be laid out for the future generation.
That's very interesting because metro being used as a tool of urban development, urban planning, and developing newer areas. Certainly, it's a very novel concept. Very few cities can afford to do that because there is lack of finances for that, and metro being a very highly capital-intensive project, certainly it is going to pay you in the long run, but in the short run, you are going to certainly have the challenge of running it that way. With that, one round of question has just happened. If you have any questions, you can ask, then I will go for a sum-up questions. Yeah, please, can you give mic to the people who are raising their hands? Persons? Please, mic please, to the audience. Please address to the panelists by their names or their cities or designations. So that, yeah, give the correct mic, please.
Hello. I am S.K. Sibi, retired General Manager, Rail Coach Factory, Kapurthala. Question for Mr. Dipankar Ghosh. You represent Knorr-Bremse, which is a German multinational. Any idea about introduction of hydrogen-powered trains? Just to supplement that, Indian Railways is going in for retrofitment of a DEMU, diesel electrical multiple unit, into a hydrogen train. It is likely to be completed in the next 6 months, and the train would be running on Jean-Sonipat section. I believe Germany had run some hydrogen trains, or one hydrogen train quite a few years ago. If you could supplement that.
Thank you for the question, but first and foremost, it's true that Germany has a train, but that's for Deutsche Bahn. And we are Knorr-Bremse, we are primarily into brake systems, door systems and other whole of a portfolio. If you run a hydrogen train out here, we are not into any sort of a hydrogen train as a company. But if you need a brake systems, if you need any other system engineering support, we'll be very happy to collaborate and help you with all the expertise what we have out here, not only in India, but also globally what we have. That's the only thing I can answer, because we don't have a ready-made thing, because we are not a car builder, we are a components builder industry.
Mr. Behera would like to add.
Yeah, actually, this is a very good question. Recently, you might have seen the news that Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated remotely a hydrogen-powered electric boat in Cochin, which is actually one of its kind in the world. And this is going to be used by us and by some other cities also. So what happened this particular day, so I was actually involved in this particular project of hydrogen mission of Government of India as well as Government of Kerala for some time. See, they are thinking in terms of buses to run on hydrogen, and then actually certainly the rail. Hydrogen mobility means it is creating actually an electricity. When the hydrogen passes through a membrane, it gets disintegrated, and they actually, the electrons, they actually produce the electricity. So the hydrogen cell technology has also changed, and the pioneers are the Germany. I mean, they are the best. I mean, as far as my knowledge goes. So I will not be surprised that it will be running the trains, all the trains, one day or other. But for that, a technology has to evolve. Today, it is costly. It is extremely costly. It has to come down, as Honorable PM said, by 2030, it will be much cheaper than the diesel. So everybody will go to to that particular mode of fuel.
Thank you so much.
Hello, gentlemen. My name is Mohit Kapoor. I am director. My question is directed specifically to Mr. KVB Reddy, though because the last time I read L&T Metro Rail Hyderabad was in a news article yesterday or day before yesterday. Sir, how to tackle the issues of certain political announcements like free metro tickets or free bus tickets, which as per the Indian Express article that I read, has made your particular venture seemingly non-viable. So how to tackle that, and can such clauses be put into while entering into MOUs that no political entity or no administrator in government should induce such things which make these viabilities not correct for a PPP person?
Mr. Reddy would like to answer that?
I not directly, but
Otherwise,
indirectly I can. There are
otherwise-
certain provisions in the concession agreement. Whenever there is a change in law, there is some compensation has to be given by the government. But what is covered in change in law, what is not covered in change in law, they are also specified. But what you specifically asked just now, I think I want to keep it in rest for some time. But these issues keep coming, and you need to resolve with the government. And of course, this whatever issue has happened. But we, as such, like Mr. Chakkravarthy has mentioned, none of the metro rails are making profitable. But this one issue may not be making profitable, but making more sustainable operations, improving on the efficiencies, definitely we can come closer to the profitability. And one is fair revenue, non-fair revenue. Non-fair revenues have to supplement the fair revenues to project the viable. None of the metros are making profitable, but only operationally they are profitable as of now, including fair and non-fair put together. We are also in the same range. Delhi Metro, ourselves, and a couple of other metros are also there. But this is what I would like to answer to your question.
I would like to say that, I would like to add to what he has said. Let's not talk about politics here. As it is, there is an election code of conduct going on in the country. So, but certainly, answer to your question is that we should have on national level metro regulatory authority. Okay, that metro regulatory authority, like any other regulatory authorities in different sectors, can be independent of any political regime and can make the metro authorities in the cities create a buffer for that and regulate their fare systems, regulate their... At present, there is no such regulation happening, and every authority decides its own, where certainly what you said is correct, but if the regulatory authority at the national level is created, I think that question can be solved. If you have any opinion on that, you can... Yeah, he agrees. So that is your question, sir.
My name is Rajesh Agarwal, and I retired as the member of the Railway Board 4 years ago. Now, my question is actually to the moderator, and in general, if anybody in the panelists would like to take that. See, we are talking of sustainability, and you talked just now about a metro regulatory authority. So, looking at urban transport, it's not only metro. You have the buses, you have the autos, you have the taxis, you also have some rail suburban transport, and various state governments also, they put in their transport in that location. So what has been discussed in the government of India for the last 20 years is an urban metro transport authority, UMTA. Now, I don't know why the damn thing is not successful and who's responsible for not making it successful. What is the thinking? We don't hear anything about it, except that it has been going on for the last 20 years. If we don't have a UMTA, London has a transport authority. All metropolitan cities across the world have a transport authority. If Delhi is too much of a problem, why can't Madhya Pradesh have a transport authority where there's less of a problem? But we definitely require a UMTA. So I would like to know whether this conference or Mr. Rajeev will be able to take up this issue and educate the people of India that what is happening about a UMTA in India, which has happened all over the world. And the second problem I'd like to say is that why is a person like me not able to use the metro? Because I have to get into a car and I find no car park anywhere. I just can't park my car. Anywhere in the world if you go, it's very easy to drive into a car park, go up the elevator, catch your metro, come back, take your car back. In Delhi, why can't we have a car park in Aerocity? Why can't we have a car park near Yamuna Bank? Why can't we have a car park in the other borders? There is enough land available. Now, Delhi Metro will say it's not their problem. Delhi government will say it's not their problem. Central government will say it's not their problem. But it is part of the metro policy. So it has to be somebody's problem. So is there any steps being taken to actually address this issue? And if we don't do any of this, then we can keep on having 50 metros and make the cities even more congested. So I think it's sustainability, these two specific points, this audience definitely needs an answer.
Excellent questions. The two excellent questions on that. I think Mr. Behera would like to respond first.
See, the UMTA, in 2019, Kerala was the first state to bring KMTA. The KMTA is already in place. And it has actually a law, the KMTA Act. So, but the enforcement of that particular act is a problem. It is not as easy as we think. For example, when I actually discussed this matter with the TfL, Transport for London, they had 40 private agencies who run city buses. They have to be taken on board. So it took them more than 3 years to take them on board. Similarly, in Cochin or in Trivandrum, we are actually struggling to, though the law is there, to enforce that. As you very correctly said, if you go to the actually net, you can download the act. It is basically not too much of things who have been applied from our side. It is almost copy of most of the UMTAs existing anywhere in the world. So, yes, as you say, theoretically, it is the best thing to come. But once it comes, who is going to bail the cat? That becomes a problem. And whether the KMTA or the UMTS chief has the control over all the district administrations to actually bring that. It is a very actually difficult thing, but it is possible. A beginning has been made,
And Honorable Minister of Urban Development also addressed last time in the UMI conference, saying that all the actually states should enact this kind of legislation. Because actually it's a transport related, a state has to do. It cannot be done by the central government. That is one part. Second thing about your parking, the things are changing, sir. I can assure you about this. Because we are actually investing more than 200 crores in bringing MLCPs, multi-level car parking, as you are saying, in a city like Cochin. I am sure Delhi will also bring it, because that is, when there is a demand, then it is money also. Actually now what is happening, earlier a parking of a car used to cost you 25 rupees. Now they are charging 100 bucks. So it is also the person who is running this particular MLCPs, they are earning a lot of money. So that will drive itself. I am sure that in a few years, whether it is Bombay or it is Delhi, there will be large number of MLCPs like you see it elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, Mr. Chakkravarthy would like to add to.
Sir, I would like to see city as the biggest growth engine. All other parts are moving parts, various sizes of clogs of the engine. Transportation is one of the clog in that big engine. Instead of UMTA, which we are aware, what a city should be having is Unified Metropolitan Planning Authority. So we have different planners in the same urban area. One is digging, one is building, one is again destroying, one is having metro bridges, one is having flyovers, road flyovers. So do we have a unified planning authority? Once we have a unified planning authority, all these issues of last mile connectivity, footpath development, parking space, transportation policies, reporting structure, mitigation structure, everything can be taken care of. While I'm like that idea of UMTA, which we are putting on agenda in the next meeting for MP, because we have not yet run the Metro yet, so we are still in the planning stage. I would like to have a national consensus on Unified Metro Planning Authority.
Yeah, it boils down to the same, this thing. If you want my reaction on that, I can't now help because I'm now retired, but I have some experiences of trying to get UMTA implemented in Mumbai and realized that it was very, very difficult because Mumbai being a city where suburban trains have been traditionally carrying the maximum load of commuters, daily commuters in the city as compared to any other city in India. Western Railway, Central Railway and Harbour Railway, the three railways do not agree with each other and they are not having consensus on a point. Central Railway will say something else, Western Railway will say something else. So in the UMTA meetings, when we had this, how to integrate different services, how to have a same QR code tickets for all the services, people were very, very skeptical about losing their revenues and there was no consensus on that, unfortunately. So this is something which has to come from the top. Possibly one day there will be a realization that for urban sectors, all the services have to be, and then you are talking about Ola and Uber, like in London they are integrated. Here Ola and Uber also type of, I'm not saying only Ola and Uber, there are types of services. Delhi has got few more app services. It's very difficult to integrate them. The only answer is through technology, which I said, through QR code and different QR codes. You integrate your services, have the mass system where you buy the travel for a day through different services, have different QR codes, but it's a very complex structure of technology which we can think of and give answer to the UMTA, which has become an illusion at present. Yeah, you would like
I
to add
just want
something?
to add a particular thing. I mean, good question, Rajesh sir, but what is happening is that India is still, I would say, 20 years behind. If you go anywhere in Europe, I mean, though we have a lot of other developments, mobility as a service, I mean, where different modes of transport are being integrated through a single app. I mean, like the London, what Mr. Behera was mentioning about the Oyster card. It's called an Oyster card. The Oyster card, or a mobility where you can plan from a distance A to distance B through a single app, pay through the single app, and it will be a combination of different modes, maybe a bike, maybe a Ola, maybe a metro, and finally also a backbone of a railways. That we are still far off, but obviously the fact that the way we have a, I would say, a really growing tech entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country. Today we are the third largest, or rather the second largest tech ecosystem in the whole world. So maybe this first mile, last mile delivery problems would be solved by someone. Today or tomorrow, we don't have it now. And then to top it off, as you rightly said, that if the government puts in their so-called cloud to integrate this thing, then only it will happen, I suppose.
It's possible.
It's a mix of technology
I
and
think
this.
we have not able to give you a proper answer for that, but every panelist here has raised valid issues which can lead to a solution in future. For your second question, I have a different take on that. Why for 1 kilometer you want to drive your cars to go to a metro station? Cars are not a solution for cities. Take it from me, all the livable cities in the world where public transport is properly networked and available, people don't use cars to go to their metro stations. Take any city in the world. They don't use their cars to go to a metro station. And where is the space available in the cities for car parking? That's a luxury. For 1 kilometer, within 1 kilometer, you should have a metro station. That's the way network should be designed. And once that is there, for 1 kilometer, you should have non-motorized way of transportation, or maximum you should have electric buses, city buses to go to the metro stations. But if you are driving a car and expecting a car to go to a metro station, park the car, and for regional transports, yes, but not for metros. Otherwise, it becomes counterproductive. Thank you. Any other question?
Good morning, everybody. So, excuse me.
Yeah, at the back.
Yeah.
At the back.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Santosh, and I'm coming from Kalpatru Power. So we have 2 to 3 projects in our kitty to execute. So my question is very.
Can you be louder? We can't hear you. Sorry.
Yeah. Am I louder now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
It's okay. So my name is Santosh, and I'm coming from Kalpatru Power. So we have 2 to 3 metro projects to execute as of now. So my question to the complete panel is, this is very operational in nature. So we are doing Agra Metro, we are doing Kanpur Metro, we are doing Indore Bhopal Metro. Why cannot we standardize the specifications of third rail at least? Because for every documentation we need a 6 month approval. Say for example, doing Agra Metro, we need 6 months approval for GC. We are hiring in between consultant, GC, a general consultant. So why cannot we standardize the specifications of metro as we have done in RDSO for all the railway projects? So I think it will save a lot of time, energy and money for the metro authority. And second, what I feel, we have got a contract from the Indore Bhopal Metro, and they are saying the vendor must be a 5 years experience in the same field. If I want to introduce a new vendor to the ecosystem, so that vendor doesn't have the experience, what is the different criteria? I mean, the contract should have the provision of other things apart from 5 years experience. I mean, see, the vendor doesn't have experience in metros, so but he has all qualifications, all technical specs to met. So what is the other things which the vendor can take to execute the project. So these kind of things should also be put in the contract to enable the EPC player to bring in new vendors in the market.
Yeah, I think he has raised very valid points. Just a minute before Mr. Behera, you answer him. I would request that 900 kilometers of metro is under construction in this country. Somehow, if the tenders, if the specifications of different components of metro are standardized, then the markets get stabilized on that, and there are people are aware about it that these standards. But one issue with that comes, and I would like to tell you that every day there is some new development coming up in this sector. So that does not help in standardizing. Still, most of the things, 80-90% of the things can be standardized. Mr. Behera.
Santosh, your name is Santosh. Yeah. Santosh, I'll tell you one. The controlling ministry has actually set up a committee for doing the standardization both in the manpower and those qualifications, etc., relating to the metro employees. Another is for the technology. And the coming UMI conference in Gandhinagar, they are discussing with world experts about various standardization, whether it is a door or it is a brake or anything, it is to be standardized. I mean, I can only say that. But what happens is that sometimes the local geographical conditions also compel a particular, you asked about the third rail. See, the third rail, they actually, in Bhubaneswar, the metro is now coming up. They are not going for overheads. I mean, that particular, whatever you call. They are going for third rail because it's a cyclone-prone area. So, whereas, if it is not cyclone-prone, like in Delhi, you can go actually, the power can come from the top. I mean, this is what is I understood. The second part, as you said, about the why in the pre-qualification requirements in a tender, we say experience is important. It is because nobody wants to take a chance if a new person comes and he has no actually experience, probably in this kind of structures, if there is any mistake or anything which will be reflected upon only after the operation, it will be disastrous. Therefore, nobody takes that particular thing. They say, you please come. These new people normally come tie up as subcontractors and to the main contractors and enter. After say 3, 4, 5 years or 10 years or getting associated with 3, 4, 5 things, I mean projects, they become experienced, they can actually code. This is what is right now happening in a metro sector. Am I clear?
Thank you so much, Mr. Behera. Last question we will take since we are running out of time now.
Morning, sir. Myself, Sanjeev Sachdev. I am from Orient Pro Toshi Automatic. So I have two questions in totality. One is that every focus is now on metro, irrespective of the fact that we have other transport models also like BRTS. And I know that Indore is running with a very successful model of BRT for the last 10 years. And India has already given more than, I think, around 8 successful, BRTS corridor. But after 2016, there has been no addition in the BRT sector for the low-cost intermodal transport system. And it is almost at the brisk of closing now, only a little bit of extension or the service maintenance. Second is that as far as the qualification criteria are concerned, as an Indian manufacturer, like with an experience of more than 32 years into industry, and now manufacturing the automatic fare collection gates, ticket vending machines indigenously designed in India, still at times it seems that I am a newcomer. Because in many criterias, your qualification criteria doesn't match or they get up to the standards of metro and you are outcasted outrightly. So you have to come through other channels like as a subcontractor or being a subcontractor to a subcontractor to come into the metro domain. So this is quite painful, and I totally agree with Mr. Santosh that if the standards are standardized, it is one for all, and the Indian manufacturers are also given equal platform to showcase their technology, their effort into the system that can really bring value to the ecosystem as of now.
Thank you so much. I would request that you should get your answers during the tea break with the panelists one-to-one, because we have run out of time. And for your second question, Mr. Behera has already answered. So that is there for BRTS and all. We can exchange our views. That a big round of applause for all the panelists here, because they come from different sectors, different ecosystem, and different level of cities. But we try to cover most of the issues, burning issues of metro in the country. And after this session, offline also, you can communicate with all the panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. And of course, we also have the time for the networking lunch wherein everyone can network. But to thank our moderator and our panelists, can I now request Mr. Ankur Dev, Chief Officer, Escorts Kubota, to please join us on stage? Can I request our panelist and moderator to please hold on stage for a moment? Mr. Ankur Dev to extend and present the memento to Shri Loknath Behera ji. Can we have the mementos on stage, please? Can we please get the mementos on stage? Shri Loknath Behera ji, Managing Director, Kochi Metro Rail, for being our panelist. I would also request Mr. Ankur Dev to extend and present the memento to Shri Sibi Chakkravarthy M, Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation Limited. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here. I would also request Mr. Dipankar Ghosh. I would request Mr. Dipankar Ghosh to extend and present the memento to Shri KVB Reddy, Managing Director, L&T Metro Rail Hyderabad Limited. And our moderator, Shri R.A. Rajeev, who has been an excellent moderator for us. I think it's sir's humility that he did the other way. But thank you everybody for joining us here on stage. I think I'll ask for another memento on stage so that I can request Dipankar sir to extend the memento to our moderator as well. Can we have another memento on stage, please? You can clear the stage, that's okay. Dipankar sir, can I once again bother you and request you to please present the memento to our moderator? Thank you so much, sir. A big hand for our moderator and our panelist once again. I think that was really an insightful panel discussion. And we are definitely in the right path of sustainability and a sustainable future.